My question was just like yesterday I was wondering like what queer meant, and I want to know like what you define queer as.
Yeah, this is a great question. And I think that like it's a question that like is actually kind of advanced, which is really cool and is has a lot to do with like all of the work that I do. I mean, it's literally the title of my web series and like a lot of the work that I do. So what I usually like to say is that queerness is kind of like two things for me. So the first is this kind of like general concept of queerness that means difference. So anything that's kind of like not quote unquote normal. So that can be really anything that feels other, feels different. That can be part of the LGBTQ plus community. That can also be someone who is not in kind of like mainstream narratives. So, and like that is people who are white, who are straight, who are cisgender, right? So, those are kind of the people and the narratives that are very kind of like normalized in our society, right? So, anything that really is other than that, is different than that, I kind of consider queer, as in like different, other. Yeah, so just kind of those words as synonyms for queer. But then there's also kind of like this overarching umbrella term of queerness and like the queer community. And so that usually is people who are LGBTQ plus. So lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, asexual, two-spirit, lots of different kind of like identities that fall under that umbrella. So people who are LGBTQ plus, I would also consider queer. But also like not everybody has to identify as queer, because I think that it's also what I like about it and why I like to identify as queer is that for me, it's not just about my sexuality. It's not just about my gender. It's not just about how I feel kind of like different or other than this kind of like normalized idea of like who we are, I'm American, so what an American is, probably also what a Canadian is. And I think that it can be kind of a political identity of someone who is activist and who is fighting for change and fighting for other people who feel different. So yeah, I think for me, queer kind of encompasses all of those identities in one word. Um, so yeah, that's why I like it. It also has some history as like an academic subject. So queer theory, queer scholarship, which you might not get to until you're in college, but that's okay. It could get like philosophical and complicated there, but it does have like a history in teaching and in education. So that is, I think, a part of it, as well as like a philosophy of being, if that makes sense. I know that is like kind of heady and abstract, but I think it queer for me like encompasses all of those things, which is exciting to me.
Awesome. That was a beautiful answer.